What's up, everybody? This is Jose from Southern Life. Welcome back to our channel. Please make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. On today's video, we're going to look at some of the most insane destruction from Hurricane Ian. And some of this destruction, a lot of people in Southwest Florida don't even know how hard this area got hit. With all the news and all the attention focusing on Fort Myers, places like this got a lot less attention. But just because this wasn't on the news doesn't mean that what happened here wasn't absolutely insane. This area is adjacent to the Mayaca River, and what took place here was absolutely wild. Just take a look at the destruction on this property here, where the pine trees fell over the home. And what's crazy is that this is US 41, one of the major roads of Southwest Florida. But this area here just didn't receive the same news coverage and attention as other parts of Southwest Florida. But nonetheless, you can see that the combination of the Mayaca River overflowing and the insane winds that came through here left this area in a bad shape. So this is the area we're going to explore today to find out exactly what happened out here in the Northport area. And guys, while the destruction seems great, one of the most horrible things that's been happening in Southwest Florida is the amount of looting and dumping that's been going on. And we're gonna find some of that as well out here. Now, I can't tell you that I'm not looking at somebody back there right now going into buildings randomly, because it's probably happening. But it's wild to think that this has actually been a thing in Southwest Florida, that people have taken advantage of this situation. You would expect that these junk removal companies be taking this crap to the landfill, right? We'll explore that topic as well. All right, guys. So the destruction we're looking at here is not exactly from storm surge. It's from the flooding of the Mayaca River. And while this area is not receiving as much attention on the news as the Fort Myers area, they are also living a nightmare here. I just know with this hurricane, the Fort Myers area has got all the attention because they like attention down there. They like to be on TV, and they like to be seen, heard. Yeah, we're celebrities down there in Fort Myers, but trust me, there's parts of Southwest Florida that aren't as photogenic, where the people are living a complete nightmare. And they didn't even get a good photo op and the opportunity to take some nice split down there. So while Fort Myers got all the attention and all the photo opportunities, folks down here were also living a nightmare. They just didn't get a chance to be on TV about it. Now, the first thing I notice when I enter these areas is that I can't freaking breathe. And this path of destruction is all along the Mayaca River. Places that are far inland, and to be honest, more difficult to access. Meaning that not only are these people here not getting the attention, but a lot of people don't even realize how hard this area got hit. And again, we're talking places that are further inland, less accessible. Just gotta let you guys know that as soon as I enter this area, I can feel my lungs contracting, and I'm struggling to even breathe. But these areas just didn't get the same attention. Just weren't as it just wasn't as much notoriety. And a lot of people in Southwest Florida don't realize that all along the Mayaca River, there's a huge path of destruction and it's a path of destruction that even to this day just hasn't even got much attention. Guys, I've really been struggling with my iPhone. So the camera resolution, if you guys notice, it's not the best today. I think it's time to replace this phone. Alright guys, so here's what's seemingly a normal looking place. It's a mobile home park here in the Northport area. But if you look very closely, a lot of these parks are gated, so we cannot enter them. But you can tell there were a lot of damages here. Otherwise, they wouldn't have so many people in tents. They got that waterfront down there. So they've actually caught several semi-trucks about the size of this one that have been dumping their loads of debris in empty, vacant roads. Alright guys, so I talked to some of the locals here, and there's no FEMA, there's no Red Cross, there's no organization, nothing. They are still waiting in tents. And since they gave me so much of their time and so much information, I'm not going to burden them with you know, trying to record them. I'm just glad they filled me in on so much information. You know, so far there's no FEMA, there's no organization that's stepped in, and you know, there's people in tents sitting in front of their houses that are not really livable, and there's not too much to look forward to, you know. And not only the people that I talk to, not only are they kind of disappointed at the situation, but a lot of people aren't really happy with their community in general. They're not happy with their neighbors. They said even before the hurricane, their neighbors are just scumbags, basically. It's interesting to watch somebody in a tent kind of vent frustration at how they're not really sad their community is in this condition because their neighbors across the street are just horrible, and that they're kind of glad that they had damages. It's a weird, there's all types of emotions out here, basically, guys. All types of feelings and emotions out here going around. It's a crappy vibe, to be honest. But I really appreciate talking to the locals. I guess when people are mad and frustrated at their situation, they have no problem telling you how it is. But their biggest frustration is not so much their own life, but the fact that they're realizing that there is no help on the way. You know, false expectations. And that is why some people are just kind of really just down and out at the notion that no, there is no help. If you're living in a tent because your house is destroyed, that there really isn't any help coming. And a lot of people are kind of upset, and they're starting to wake up to the idea that, you know, people come and take pictures, but nothing ever really happens. You're still stuck here with your problem, despite the fact, especially in this area here, people here are very fueled about whatever the crap they're into. So I guess the right word would be kind of hopelessness, in that people are starting to understand that there's really not much help on the way. And if there was some type of dispute with the neighbors or guy next door you didn't like, those types of sentiments are kind of being fueled right now. A lot of anger and frustration getting vented. People are feeling understandably abandoned in their situation and somewhat hopeless. Other people find a great opportunity to make some money. Yeah, we got away. What a surprise. Me, I've learned in life to just depend on myself in hardship. And that's a realization sometimes you got to come to in life. Sometimes your only friend in life is Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin never let me down. If you ain't got money to fix your problems, you're going to have problems. Because sometimes a little bit of money is the solution. Not going around. This guy's just going around knocking on people's doors trying to work. Interesting. What the crap do you need done around here, ma'am? Do you need to haul that crap up there right there? Got that crap metal down there, that's for sure. Tell you what, you just get a little WD-40 on that little trailer sitting down there. Just clean all that crap up, get paid down there. Benjamin Franklin. This is a really nice neighborhood. It looks like a kind of old school and old school, kind of charming looking neighborhood. I've kind of had it with neighborhoods like this though. I'm actually happy, like, just to, oh, what happened there? That sidewalk. We're gonna stop right here for a minute and check this little situation out. There's quite a bit going on right up in this neighborhood. We'll stop for a minute here. See where I can park. I'm gonna tell you what, about 12, 13 miles per hour down there. All right, so we're about 5 weeks out from this situation, and we're still seeing that people are not exactly all back to normal. Some people are gonna have to find a new normal, and I just hope they can find a new normal that isn't living in a tent in front of a house that's destroyed that they don't have enough money to fix. Sometimes you just gotta pick up the pieces and find something better. Take the equity and run, basically. A lot of people that I've talked to, their houses are paid off, but it's all they got. They put all their money just into paying off a house that's now sitting destroyed. I would tell those people, get what you can get and run, because if you don't have $50,000 to fix it, you ain't gonna be able to fix it. You guys remember that I own a mobile home in North Naples, and we sold it. I knew it was I told Katie one day, I was like, this is a ticking time bomb. Eventually, we're not gonna be able to hold on to this mobile home forever. Eventually, we're gonna lose it to a hurricane. It was paid off. I owned it, but it was a liability. It was just a matter of time before that mobile home, that although it was paid off, it was still a ticking time bomb for something to happen. Now, if we look here, a lot of these bridges in the Northport area failed, and Port Charlotte as well. A lot of these bridges just couldn't stand up to the water. They're older, and there's a lot of these bridges. So while these older communities are attractive places, they look pretty and charming, it's really old infrastructure. And if you look at the situation here, this is really an infrastructure nightmare. We're standing on the road that could easily wash out. It wouldn't take much for it to wash out at this point. You can see the sidewalk has already washed out. You can see that seawall right there is leaning in some type of way or another. And further down the canal, we can see tarps. We can see, well, boat docks that are destroyed. So you can see seawalls that are just kind of crumbling all through here, and kind of, they're definitely not doing their intended purpose anymore. So it's sad to say that this is a complete infrastructure nightmare here, with seawalls falling, sidewalks crumbling. We're talking about a real nightmare here. We're not looking at a pretty situation. You have a pretty serious infrastructure problem now, with seawalls crumbling. I almost feel scared to walk on the sidewalk here. Just bounce it a little bit and see what it does. Ooh, look at the tilapia down there. There's a lot of tilapia in this canal. But yeah, these old sidewalks and canals and stuff, it almost feels scary to walk on this sidewalk, looking at what happened on the other side and knowing that this is just as old. Kind of a little scary. But there's pieces of soffit in the canal. If you look over there, that perhaps could be part of a shed. And we can clearly say that what was once a beautiful older neighborhood with lots of charm is today, well, kind of a nightmare, to be honest. A nightmare with no solution. Can't help but to think of Detroit, what was once the heart of Motor City, America. The heartbeat of America, man. Motor City. And what it is today. In fact, with reason, this sidewalk's also cracking. So one of the biggest problems we've had in Southwest Florida is that a lot of these older communities that have canals, like these are houses from, I don't know, I look around here, maybe 70s and 60s. A lot of these communities that are this age have canals. Well, these bridges and sidewalks, when the ground gets saturated, particularly with salt water, I don't know if it acts a little bit differently than regular rainwater. At the end of the day, saturated ground equals failure of infrastructure that is old, for lack of a better term. Oh wait, elderly infrastructure. Florida, home of elderly people and even more elderly infrastructure. And is there going to be a solution to this problem? I just don't see. Eventually the county will fix the bridges that fell, I would figure, but that's an eventually. And I just don't see how a tax base of properties that are this old and decrepit and half of them are destroyed is really going to fund massive infrastructure projects here in Florida. I mean, it's just a what's the word I'm looking for? Failure of some sort. And I'm sure for some people, a broken sidewalk is the least of their concern right now. Well, at least they're not Alabama fans. There are signs of hope, though. Like this Oldsmobile cutting the Sierra, dog. Dang, dog. Oh, snap. That looks pretty good. People have been asking me if I've seen a lot of people working, and sadly, very few. Very few people working. People volunteering, even less. I recall just seeing some Red Cross over in Grove City, some Red Cross in Bonita, and I saw shirts from Texas working in Spring Creek and Bonita, but it hasn't been like this huge onslaught of people wanting to help their fellow man. It's been bad, really, really bad. And you know, like, they really help each other a lot in other parts of the country. Like when I lived in Alabama, I couldn't believe how many people from the local community would get together to help everybody in Alabama. But the help has been non-existent. Very, very little. I mean, there hasn't been much happening. Look at that, is the cutest little house ever. It is just tiny. That's wild. So as you can see in this Northport neighborhood, oh, the smell, I'm sorry. Whew. Just about every house has considerable damage. I think I've seen more houses that are total loss with my own two eyes than what the county says actually happened in this county. You can see here by the dead grass that the county already came in and picked up one round. So what's different about the garbage piles here in Northport that makes them a little different from the garbage piles in other places we've seen is that this is all roof damage, so it's not storm surge damage, but a lot of these houses actually have parts of the plywood ripped off. Like right here, you can see that part of the plywood was ripped off, which led to the furniture underneath it getting destroyed. So quite a different scenario than, let's say, storm surge. Seems like this area suffered mostly from wind damages. And this is what your average neighborhood is looking like in the Northport area. Now, I've been a little scared to actually get out and walk through some of these neighborhoods because you just don't understand what situation people are living. And as you're driving by, you can kind of hear the tempers on some people. Very frustrating situation. However, despite my fears, so far, all I have encountered is a lot of interest in what I'm doing, and I've had some lengthy conversations with people that have been very awesome, actually. Some of the best conversation I've had with people in a while. But here you're looking at the complete destruction of structures, people's homes. I just caught notice that there's a stop sign here in this garbage pile. That's kind of an interesting thing to see in a garbage pile. A stop sign. Just now caught my attention. I'd seen the garbage pile, but I hadn't paid attention to what was in it. So we're looking at garbage piles by the road, but you have to understand these garbage piles originated with people losing their roofs due to high winds. Can't really enter the vast majority of these trailer parks. Are gated, but when you drive past them, you can kind of get a sense for how bad they did. Therefore, with most of these mobile home parks being gated and private, we can't really go inside the trailer park to show you guys how much damage they had. But if you're on the outskirts of these trailer parks, you can see that these mobile homes are pretty much shredded to crap, and their debris field now covers adjacent properties. On satellite imagery, you could really get a good feel. Guys, is it me, or is the quality of my camera gone to crap lately? Does the video look kind of grainy and crappy to you guys? Because I'm looking at the playback and it looks horrible. I'm getting the feeling that that my iPhone went to crap because I don't really like the quality of the video I'm looking at here today. Well, regardless, we're here. And this is the camera we're using today until I can get into the Apple store. On the sidewalk we have part of a roof or something. This mobile home park's got destroyed. But we can't go in there. It's gated. The vast majority of these mobile home parks are gated, so we cannot enter. I'll have to marvel at the destruction from far away. But when your home is made out of styrofoam, cardboard, and plastic, it's not a surprise it blew away. I mean, even concrete block structures had damages during the storm. So what can be said about styrofoam wrapped in aluminum and cardboard? It's really not what you want your house to be built of, because the wind came and blew your house away. So sad. And even, well, it's been quite a bit. There's still a lot of debris out there. But as you look into these mobile home parks, you can get the idea. They're pretty much shredded to crap. Alright guys, so it was in this area here where on the news we saw an article about garbage trucks dumping garbage. So we're going to drive around this area, see what we can see. But it was on the news that in this area, big trucks were pulling up to empty lots and kind of dumping entire loads of garbage into residential areas. So here we have a truck going that way. And let's see if it's driving around in a reasonable pattern. Let's see what it's doing, because in this area here, they arrested somebody who had a truck just like that, big truck, and they were coming and dumping their garbage just kind of on the back streets of this neighborhood. Here you can see it's kind of wooded, and they've had reports in this area of trucks coming through and just dumping their garbage in residential neighborhoods. So let's see where this truck is going, and see if it's just following a logical path, or if it's just scoping out the area to see where it can dump. Now it's driving awfully fast. Let's see if he's driving around in a reasonable fashion, or if he's just scoping the area out. Because like I said, this area here has had a lot of these big trucks have just been dumping their loads in this area on random people's empty lots, and there's even been arrests made already. Basically, they're not going to the landfill, they're just dumping it in a residential neighborhood. So let's see if this truck here is following a reasonable pattern driving around, or if they're trying to scope something out. So this area just got hit hard by the wind. Okay, so the truck went down this way. Let me see if it went left, right, or if it kept going straight. Let's see which way it went. And it went... well, it's gone. I don't see it anywhere around here. Let's see. It must have gone straight really fast. They sure drive these things. Crap. They drive these things so fast. So there is a waste site here. Let's take a look at this. What's crazy is how close this site is to where the dumping's going on. Okay, so they've created a dump site here and some empty lots. So it is interesting that the area where people have been dumping is near a kind of makeshift landfill they create. You can see the piles of debris here are absolutely humongous. I mean, we're talking huge. Give you an idea, these are mountains of debris. Mountains, guys. So we're gonna guess that because there's this makeshift site here, a lot of the trucks are using this area as a good place to drive through and kind of not be noticed on their way to this makeshift site, which I don't even know how high these things are, but it's a tall mountain of debris. So here we are on the corner of Darrow and this guy brought the stuff where he was supposed to. But a lot of these trucks are using the surrounding area as an opportunity to mask why they're in here and just dumping it in the woods so they don't have to pay a landfill fee. So you can see there's a line here of trucks going to the landfills. So while the vast majority of these truckers are doing what they're supposed to, some of them are just dumping it in empty lots. So let's explore this area and see if we can find traces of people doing illegal dumping. You can see how the landscape of this area would kind of lend itself very well to illegal dumping. You can almost see a truck backing up into here and just dumping their load on this very empty area where there's not too many people around to see it. And there's a lot of fresh debris on the ground to kind of camouflage a fresh load of garbage. So it almost lends itself perfectly for this. Now here, you can tell that that was likely dumped right there on the road. And that is probably, you can see here fresh footprints of vehicles going back into that lot back there to dump garbage. And you can see there's mattresses. And this is all fresh. You can see the tire tracks on the mud on the road. You can see the road's got all types of fresh tracks. And again, there's so much damage back here from the wind that it would kind of lend itself well to camouflaging the damage, camouflage the debris. But real people own these properties. Like, I own land. Can you imagine somebody dumping a huge load, a semi-truck load of garbage on your lot? It would cost you thousands of dollars to pick it up. And it's not just a random person or a big corporation. I'm a regular guy and I own a piece of land. It's my only investment right now. It's a piece of land. And if somebody came and dumped $3,000 of debris on it, there may be plans to turn this area into like a landfill or something, because I've seen a lot of trees get cut, and you can see back there more debris. I don't know if that's just somebody dumping debris, or it looks like a makeshift camp. Somebody might just be living in the woods. Okay, so we can see here, guys, where on this desolate area, people have been dumping on vacant lots semi-truck loads of debris. Now, the person who owns this lot is probably gonna have to pay to get rid of this now. So it's not a quote-unquote victimless crime. Sure, I'm sure the person who did this might feel like nobody's affected, but this is actually, somebody owns this land back here, and whoever owns this land, they're going to be stuck with the bill unless the county were to pick it up, because it is on an easement after all. But it is possible that, well, part of this debris landed beyond the easement, and the person who owns this lot, imagine if you're the person that owns this land and now you are stuck with, it would probably cost to have a claw come out here. I mean, you might need a bobcat or a crane to lift that big thing. it might cost $3,000 to $4,000 to get rid of this, right? So now the person that owns this little $10,000 lot, now they're stuck having to pay thousands of dollars to remove this garbage. And I was looking through the Facebook, and this woman said on one of the posts about the situation, she says, oh, why didn't they just give him a ticket? Why did they arrest the guy? This is not a little matter. In fact, in the state of Florida, this right here is called felony dumping. You catch the F word, felony. Why is it a felony? It's a felony because it creates havoc upon other people into the thousands of dollars to pick up. Now, this person here has done, probably the same person that did this, did that over there. We're going to drive up there as well. And we are going to keep it moving because there is a homeless, looks like a homeless tent right over here. And when people are homeless and living out in the woods, there's no telling how desperate they are to get a hold of a vehicle or money or whatever. So we're not going to take our chances in being out here too long. We're going to keep it moving. And like I said, I myself wanted to buy land out here until I realized that they were not real listings. They were fake. They were trying to scam you. So here we have another pile of similar size and also similar composition, which leads me to believe that whoever dumped that pile over there is also responsible for this one. Similar composition. Again, large chunks of branches and palm trees. And hopefully they learned their lesson. And for the people who are unfamiliar, felony dumping is by no means a harmless thing. Like this lady was on there saying, why didn't they just give him a ticket? This is not a ticketable offense. You're causing thousands of dollars of damage to somebody else's property, their investment. It is by no means. And not only that, but there's a landfill just down the road from here. There's a landfill. They made a makeshift landfill less than a mile from here, and the line looked to be reasonable. So you're talking about somebody who's so selfish that they really can't wait a few minutes in a line and pay a few $100s to get rid of this garbage. They feel the need that they have to pawn this off on a random victim. So it's definitely not a small and insignificant crime. Guys, this is a major offense. This is not an insignificant thing, and it's shameful that people do this, and I'm glad that they caught the guy. Every single one of these dump sites might cost the dump truck driver $300, but it's going to cost the property owner $3,000 to get rid of it. You understand the difference? The landfill might charge this guy $300 to get rid of this stuff. And this might be another load here as well, though it looks like it might have fallen on the road and it just cut it. So this might just be from these empty lots, but stuff like this kind of helps them mask their dumping. There's looks like a garbage can right there in the woods. Right there's like a garbage can or something. There's definitely people living out here in the woods. There's a lot of debris. Oh crap. But you know, the situation out here with these kind of so much wind damage and these open paths like this are perfect for somebody to just come in and dump all this crap. So you, to save $300 out of landfill, are going to inflict $3,000 of damage to somebody who has a small investment, because an empty lot is nothing more than a poor person's investment. I mean, rich people own hotels and mansions. Poor people own a quarter-acre lot. And again, just the amount of destruction in this area kind of lends itself perfectly for somebody to take advantage of the situation. You can see here they dumped a large root and a bunch of debris, which looks like the county came out and picked it up. But the amount of dumping that's going on, you can see here there's garbage bags. So this might be another person perpetrating another type of crime here. You can see they just dumped all these garbage bags here. You know, what type of scumbag takes advantage of a situation like this when there's landfills nearby is incredible. You know, considering there's landfills in the area where you can legally dispose of this garbage. And I want to thank the Polk County, Orange County, Broward County, Hillsborough County, Dade County, Pinellas Park, all the agencies from other parts of Florida that have volunteered their officers to come over here and help us in Southwest Florida. And I want to mention that a lot of the arrests that have been made for people looting and dumping and taking advantage of other people during this situation have been thanks to the efforts of those officers from those counties. A not so friendly gesture on Friendly Street. I was actually going to buy land in Northport when I moved back to Florida, and the realtor that I had hired at that time told me, hey, these lots, there's not a lot of information. It's possible that it was a real estate fraud where they, they'll post somebody else's lot. I thought it was a great deal. Oh, the lot for $9,000. Let's buy it. Turns out they didn't really own the lot. What I'm trying to tell you is that here in Sarasota and Charlotte County, in the middle of nowhere in these empty lots, there's a lot of misappropriation going on. People are afraid of Atlanta and they're afraid of Baltimore. But let me tell you, there's a jungle out here as well of crime. It's just a different type of crime. I would love to have enough time to spend my day out here and catch one of these guys in the act. I used to think that owning a piece of land was almost a liability-free investment, where here's an investment that has very little liability. But now that I see it, after this hurricane and I see how people have taken advantage of these empty lots, I'm starting to reconsider how liability-free land is as an investment. And, well, even the safest of investments have liabilities. And just wild to think the type of winds that came through here when these palm trees are all bent like that. Just like in North Florida.